You've been stretching your hamstrings for weeks, maybe even months. You foam roller, you do yoga, you hold those painful stretches, and yet that nagging, persistent tightness in the back of your leg just never goes away. In fact, for some of you, it might feel even worse. You stretch, you hold it for a little bit, you feel a little bit of relief, and then 15 minutes later, a half hour later, that pain is back and it's irritated. This is a frustrating loop that makes you feel like there's something wrong with your body, that your body is just broken. But what if I told you that tight feeling in your hamstring has nothing to do with your hamstring muscle at all? And what if the very thing you're doing to try to fix it, that aggressive stretching, is actually making this problem worse? The real culprit may not be a muscle at all, it may be a nerve. And if you're yanking on an irritated nerve, you are not helping it heal. You're just basically pulling on a wound. Today, we're gonna stop the guesswork. I'm gonna show you a simple, definitive test you can do right now to figure out if you're dealing with a true muscle issue or a tight nerve. This is the crucial first step you have to take before you waste another minute stretching. To get what's going on, picture the back of your leg. You've got your big, strong hamstring muscles, but running right underneath and through them is this huge nerve, the sciatic nerve. Think of it this way. Your hamstring is like a thick, strong bungee cord. It is made to lengthen and shorten. Your sciatic nerve is more like a delicate electrical cable running just underneath it. They live in the same neighborhood, so it's easy to get mixed up on which one is sending you a distress signal. A truly tight and painful hamstring feels like a deep pulling sensation centered somewhere in the belly of that muscle. When you stretch it, it's that good kind of stretch. Maybe a little sore, but a soreness that improves as you work on it and gets better. Over time, that sensation improves and your muscle feels better. Using that hamstring muscle with gentle to progressive exercises will help even more. In contrast, nerve tension feels different. Because nerves are your body's electrical system, the pain often feels different. It feels sharp, burning, electrical, tingling. It may not stay in one spot. It may be vague. That feeling can sometimes travel down the back of your leg to your knee or even lower to your calf, foot, or ankle. You may get that pins and needles feeling. This is a sign. The sciatic nerve may be irritated somewhere along its path, even starting at your low back. Here's where things get tricky. Muscles are built to stretch, nerves are not. Muscles, because they shorten and lengthen, can handle a fair amount of flexibility without injuring the muscle, and in fact, it can help make that muscle feel better. Nerves, they're made to glide and slide. They do not take stretching well at all. Think of that nerve as a silk ribbon running through a series of loops. As you move, that ribbon should slide effortlessly through those loops without getting hung up at all. But if that ribbon gets hung up or snagged on one of those loops and you tug on it repeatedly, that ribbon is actually going to start to show signs of wear. It's going to start to fray. And what happens if you pull hard on both ends of that ribbon? That snag just gets tighter and you risk hurting that ribbon even more. That's similar to what can happen if you aggressively stretch an already irritated sciatic nerve. When a nerve is already angry, stretching it by tugging from both ends in a long or aggressive stretch is not going to help calm that thing down. It's just going to irritate it more. And as a response, your nervous system might go into full protective mode, contracting muscles around that nerve just to try to help you. It's a defense mechanism, like a bodyguard jumping in front of a person that they're sworn to protect. Your brain is essentially saying, hey, stop pulling on that. I'm locking things down to prevent more damage. This becomes a horrible loop. You feel tightness, you stretch, the nerve becomes more annoyed. Your brain tightens those muscles around that nerve even more. You end up fighting yourself, stuck in a loop where the solution is actually making this problem worse. So how do we figure out what's really going on? You don't need any fancy equipment. This is a test you can easily do at home. All you need is your body and a chair. We're going to do a classic neurodynamic assessment called the slump test. This will give you the clearest sign at home of what's going on and if that nerve really is a problem or not. Follow these steps exactly. Sit on the very edge of a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor. Now do what you've always been told not to, slouch. Let your mid-back completely round and tuck your hands behind you to really get into that slump posture. From here, Drop your chin down to your chest. You'll probably feel a gentle pull in your upper back. Now slowly straighten the leg that feels tight. Extend it fully out in front of you, but keep your foot and ankle totally relaxed for now, even pointing a little. Only go as far as you can before the feeling gets too intense. Now this is the most important part. With your leg extended, slowly pull your toes up towards your shin. This is called ankle dorsiflexion. Then point your toes away from you, called plantar flexion. What did you feel when you pulled your toes up? If that dramatically cranked up the tightness or that pulling sensation, or triggered that familiar sharp tingling or burning sensation down the back of your leg, that's a huge clue you're dealing with nerve tension. Now for the final confirmation. Go back into that position, legs straight, ankle dorsiflexed, toes pointed up towards your head, right where you feel that tension. Hold everything in place, and now simply bend your neck back to look up towards the ceiling. Did the tension in your legs suddenly ease even a little or improve? If yes, then you have your answer right there. This is a nerve problem. Think of your nervous system as one continuous string that runs all the way from your skull down to the very tips of your toes. A tight muscle in your leg doesn't care what your neck is doing, but your nerves sure do, because they're connected. By lifting your head, you reduce tension on the nerve from the top, creating more slack in the system and taking pressure off where your nerve is irritated and sore. If moving your head or ankle changes the feeling in the back of your hamstring area, then you know this is a nerve and not simply a muscle. If you've just had that aha moment and realize you've been dealing with your sciatic nerve, type nerve in the comments. And if this is already helping, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really does help this video reach other people stuck in the same frustrating cycle. Okay, you've done the test. Your next steps will be different depending upon what you felt. If you did the slump test and moving your ankle and head did absolutely nothing to change this sensation, it was just a deep localized soreness or pain right in your hamstring muscle, then congratulations. You just have a hamstring that probably needs some good conditioning. For you, a good strength and mobility program is the right thing. Here are a few tips just for you. Always warm up first. Never stretch cold muscles. Be gentle. The effectiveness of stretching is really not awesome, so mostly what we want to do is mobilize that muscle to release any kind of residual tightness. If you do feel like it helps to lean into some stretching, better to hold a stretch with moderate to mild tension than be real aggressive or bounce. And lastly, for those truly tight hamstrings, be consistent. A little bit of work every day is better than one big session a week. Now, if the slump test lit you up, your top priority needs to shift. You absolutely have to stop aggressively stretching your hamstring. We are putting stretching on the back burner for now. The goal for you is no longer to lengthen, but to improve slide and glide. We do this with an exercise designed to help your body do that, called a nerve glide or nerve flossing. Here's a simple and safe way to start that. It's basically a version of the test that we did. Sit tall on the edge of a chair. No slumping this time. Slowly straighten your painful side until you just start to feel a slight bit of tension. Don't push into that pain. Here's the coordinated part. As you point your toes away from you, gently tuck your chin to your chest. Then, as you pull your toes back up towards you, gently look up toward the ceiling. Think of this like flossing your teeth. You are not trying to aggressively move your teeth apart. You're just trying to take that floss through gaps. You are just gently working that floss back and forth to clear the space. That's it. We're doing the same for the nerve. Gently moving it back and forth without stretching it to encourage it to move freely in its channel through all of those soft tissues and bony gaps. Do this between 10 and 15 slow repetitions once per day, and the key is to do this gently. This should not be painful. If it hurts, you're being too aggressive and you need to chill out. For the bigger picture, you also have to ask, why is this nerve irritated anyway? Is it coming from your back? Is it coming from tight muscles in your hip that are trapping that nerve a little bit and causing it to bind further down the chain? Did you suddenly change an activity that you do? Change how you run uphill, hike too far, sit too long? Sitting for long periods of time, especially with bad posture, can be a major culprit of this problem. So you do have to address whatever root causes you can find. So to wrap it up, That tightness that you feel in the back of your leg may not be what you thought it was. And you may have spent days, months, even years trying to fix this problem by stretching your hamstring. But before you spend another moment stretching that muscle, do this test and really verify what the heck is going on. Knowing the difference between a tight hamstring muscle and a painful sciatic nerve is the key and the most important step towards finally getting some relief and getting better. Instead of forcing an angry nerve into a stretch, instead focus on gentle mobility, nerve gliding, and conditioning. Nerves do really well with a healthy environment, and so that's what we want to cultivate. Once you do this, you will finally break the cycle and find relief that lasts. If you want to see more on nerve gliding techniques and other useful tips for healthy backs, nerves, and other joints, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And as always, thanks for joining me.